So I did a fun live performance on the Waikiki street yesterday. Talked about the possibility that just like how doctors made mistakes like not washing their hands prior to surgery or encouraging cigarette use or all of assorted dysfunctions and limitations that we saw in a society 100 or more years ago, I'm propositioning that they are still present in this day and age in 2023. And they are kinks and little room for improvement or life hacks that I feel like I'm discovering along with other people, but I'm putting as many of them together as possible. And I want to start off with this TikTok I made this past week, and I guess what? I got 10,000 views with it. So that was a lot of fun. And so let's go ahead and watch that together, and then we can process that a little bit, in particular the comments, and then consider anything else if there's other people in the that have some point of interest that they want to talk about. I'm open to it. So yeah, let's check out my TikTok channel here. So yeah, Shield Heart TikTok, and this one, yeah, I got 10,000 views with it, and it's the title is 3 Reasons Why Men Unlovingly Seduce Women. And so let me pause the music here and we'll watch it. And allows for self-control, allowing them to focus on themselves and their future spouse instead of. Okay, so the first one is a main common theme, and I have a little surprise for you in regarding to self-control. In fact, let's watch the whole thing once, and then we'll break it apart in more individually. I'm desperately wanting. Let's just watch it again. 3 reasons why men unlovingly seduce women. Number 1, they neglect self-intimacy, which allows for self-control, allowing them to focus on themselves and their future spouse instead of desperately wanting any random woman they don't respect. Number 2, labeling women a higher authority, whether it be mother or grandmother, makes them unconsciously resent women. You notice how men say they love their mothers very much, but then objectify other women. It's because the dynamic of the hierarchy of and the submission of the mother and son, that feels objectifying. And the same goes for women and fathers, everyone. It's unhealthy relationships. I further discuss this on section 3 on shieldheart.org. And finally, when men don't have a value system, like a principled or religious man, when they don't have that, they don't really know what to look for in a woman. They just kind of go off of feelings instead of the logic of, okay, these values match up, we'll have a strong marriage. 3 reasons why men. All right, so the first reason. Number 1, they neglect self-intimacy. Is not. Allows for self-control, allowing them to focus on themselves and their future spouse instead of desperately wanting any random woman they don't respect. Number 2. Okay, so the lack of using self-intimacy to manage one's own desires, that creates problems. It makes it so it's like an appetite, just like eating food. If you don't eat food, all you're going to be oriented around is thinking food, including when you go out in public and so on. And when men do not manage their own desires, they get controlled by them. They end up having women. They think it's women's fault for seducing them, but really it's men's fault for putting themselves in a situation where they allowed themselves to be seduced. And so it's that post-nut clarity where if you have that, guess what? You don't get controlled by people. You don't have to worry about anything because you're beyond that. It's totally in your control. And if people think about it, like think about how well if you actually were in that situation, like if you took out the element of the sexual desire, a lot of women you wouldn't be interested in. And this allows you to have control over yourself. So that's where my hoping is. That's where I want people to go with that. And and as a surprise, I have I recently ordered this toy. I'd like to show you guys. It's this toy, and it's basically a pocket stroker, and you use it. And this one I find that they have different designs of this main squeeze line, but that one I find to be works really well, the Sophie D one. And so they are going to cost between $40 and $100 each. Try to find them online. Okay, so we're looking at two, right? We're looking at labeling woman a higher authority. Hey, Fallacious. Thanks for tuning in, man. All right, number 2, right? Products review. Products review. All right, so here we go. Labeling woman with a higher authority. Okay.
Labeling woman a higher authority, whether it be mother or grandmother, makes them unconsciously resent women. You notice how men say they love their mothers very much, but then objectify other women. It's because the dynamic of the hierarchy and the submission of the mother and son, that feels objectifying. And the same goes for women and fathers. It's unhealthy relationships. I further discuss this on section 3 on shieldheart.org. And finally, when men don't have a value system, like a principled or religious man, when they don't have that.
All right, pardon me, guys. I overstepped beyond point 2. So point 2 is unconventional because people don't talk about it. But like I was suggesting, people have a familiarity bias. Okay, hey Joey, people think that they prefer certain things. It's only because they're familiar with them. So if you look at 100 years ago, 1923, people were doing stuff that we think are silly now, such as smoking cigarettes. And I'm here to say that we are doing things in this day and age that are foolish. And the irony is we actually have, I mean, who cares if we get even more sophisticated technology? We have everything we need to live a abundant life on a large scale everywhere in the world. It's just a question of people caring enough about each other to disperse that technology and share that technology instead of just trying to climb social hierarchies and be like the power dominant person, and so they can maximize their hedonism, which is to try to find multiple partners and sexual all these perversions. And the irony is, it's like, as a man, why would you need more than one woman? That, to me, that says that you either didn't like that woman or that you are not attracted enough to women. If you're attracted enough to women, then one will suffice. I mean, I don't see why anyone would want more than one person, because it's like you want one person to truly know that you are belonging to each other, and then that is setting an example for other people to also want that as a standard in their life, an objective to aim for. And it's what creates a stable society, guys. Stable relationships where both the men and women are virgins because the woman's protected by her father, and there's a healthy gender separation between societies. By the way, this is something that is good from history that we've done, but we've kind of been experimenting, especially with the freedom of women. But what do women do with their freedom? At least young women, they're promiscuous, right? Thanks, Fallacious. And so let's kind of focus this in for a second. So, like I said, actually, I'm gonna repeat that because I derailed a little there. But point two, let's see here. So,
and the submission of the mother and son, that feels objectifying, and the same goes for women.
So what I have observed is that men who, by the way, 95% of men are decent. We need to get together and we need to be able to trust each other to not seduce each other's daughters and sisters. And the only way that's possible is if ever all the women are virgins, and then we carefully plan out their marriages and stuff, and we work together as a society to do that, and then we can trust each other. Men can trust each other. Okay. And so this can be great, and even for the men who are quote unquote richer or alpha men, even they would prefer to have a virgin woman. Okay, but the only way that's possible is if they help to manifest a society that encourages that keeps women virgin. And it's not just about the physical virginity. I mean, obviously it's not about that. It's more about because women can use sex toys and have pleasure and know what their bodies are, and so can men. So it's not really about they're concerned about a man, what one person's more attracted to one person sexually and whatnot. This is about the memories that we build together of each other. And like a simple example would be if you go to your favorite restaurant with someone that you're quote unquote dating, which by the way, there was no dating 100 years ago. People didn't date. Dating was reserved for married couples as an outward presentation that, hey, we're together, we're married, and we're showing the public at large. Okay, so but the point that was brought up here was that men, okay, that say that they love their mother and everything, these same men who are really set on that, they do is they objectify women. And the mothers, I think, hey, so here's one of the problems with female logic is a lot of them say, well, it's okay what other people do, I don't have a right to judge them, which doesn't make any sense, because you need to keep certain people out of your lives. You have to have healthy boundaries. You have to say no. You have to use logic. And often I think women prefer to use emotions, and emotions are better for things like child rearing, like being able to tolerate younger infants, being able to feel the emotions and the excitement of being a cheerleader or a fan for your husband. And this is what I think women do well. And in a perfect world, women don't even know that they want that. That's why women are promiscuous and stuff. It's because they don't really know what they want. And the fact that they don't know what they want, and the fact that they encourage people to follow, their truth, or if one woman's acting like a slut, they say, hey, she has the right to do what she wants. That just shows that women kind of follow each other around, and it's better that women and then women are like, oh, a single mother, no big deal. It is a big deal, because women don't realize that boys need to be raised by men in order to be men. And then a woman might say like, oh, I don't want to take my husband's last name. Well, that's just saying that you don't trust him fully to be a masculine man, and you don't trust him to be your man, and you don't want to be in your feminine. And so it's a whole convolution. which it has to be sorted out at a philosophical level. Like I said, we have lots of technology in the world, but it's a question of the philosophy, okay, of where we're going to, how we're going to sort and convince each other using logic, historical references, and statistics that all indicate that the stability, and by the way, also people have more sex when they're married because they're two people together. And of course, there are other elements in play. Like, you need to be healthy. You need to, you need to be, running 4 days a week, or you need to be healthy in order to make yourself actually attractive. And I also encourage veganism, and also another one is coconut oil for the body, pure coconut oil, stuff like that. Like, we're transitioning into that, where people are actually looking more attractive, and we have more spare free time to properly care for ourselves and live a sustainable future. And all this together, it makes 2023 look like the Stone Ages, guys, because there's still a lot of conflict and uncertainty, and boyfriend and girlfriend, and maybe we'll get married, and maybe it's true love, and maybe he, he's the right one. It doesn't account in the realm of logic, which men, we have to hold ourselves to. What does a man do? He says to his overweight friend, hey, you know what? You may be a friendly guy to me, but you need to take control over your health and your finances if we're going to, stay connected, because we can't be a burden on each other. But what do women do? They say, oh, she's overweight, that's okay. Or she's a slut, that's okay. Because guess what? What that does is it gives more options to the woman for mate selection if the other women are slutty and unhealthy and they're unattractive, so more men might choose her. And I don't think women do this overtly at a conscious level, but I'm telling you, there's a dark aspect of women, just like there's a dark aspect of predatory men. Okay, so, but the way to resolve that is to, for one, is to not label people your higher authority. Guys say that they love their mothers, and then they objectify women. The reason they do that is because the idea of labeling somebody your mother or hierarchy is it invites a hierarchical chain of command where somebody else is higher of authority than you, and you have to be your own final authority. You can't be labeling, and just experiment with this. Experiment labeling them on a first name basis, and they might say that, well, I'm your mother, you have to call me your mother. You need to get that person out of your life. And specifically, it's the mother, because that's the reason that men hate women. But another thing is, if you label someone your father, uncle, even if they're good people, it just makes you hate yourself, because it makes you feel like you're being submissive to somebody else. A lot of this happens in the unconscious realm, but I'm bringing this to your awareness so you can really see it for what it is. And guess what? You can love each other more if you're playing a more egalitarian, equal role, okay, for each other. If you really care about your biological mother, for example, you should propose this question to her. We may be biologically, genetically, and legally related, but guess what? We actually have the same values. And so, if you go to my website, shieldheart.org, you'll find that I have this strategy of, we'll label each other a spiritual sibling, like make each other a spiritual sister. We're both adults. We can better serve each other if we don't play the roles of a hierarchy, roles that you don't even want. You want to be your own person. You want them to be their own person, so that they don't feel that they have to be financially and emotionally obligated to support you. You should be supportive of each other through life. And so label each other on a first name basis as brother and sister. That's my solution. And that is a stronger relationship than the roles of mother and son, because guess what? The roles of mother and son is actually not a strong relationship because it's not based upon values. It's based upon a role of, well, I'm an authority and you're going to follow these, expectations that are mine. But it's, true love can only exist when both people are free and independent to choose and voluntarily say, you know what, we do like each other. We're not together because we have to be, or from type of social, cultural, religious, legal, or moral obligation. And I also think that, once people are 18 or maybe 21, then there is no more moral obligation for parents to look out for their children. Now they're adults, and now they can choose by choice that, hey, you know what, I like your values, I like your religion, or not. Let's look at the final point here, guys. Okay, on my channel, my TikTok video, and like I said, look at the points I got here. I got 700 likes, got some comments, and then I got 7 whatever those are. I think those are shares. All right, so here we go.
Fathers, it's unhealthy relationships. I further discuss this on section 3.
And now, you know how just like in the Bible, you know how in the Bible they make references? Now I'm making my website more useful for making those points of reference. Yeah, fallacious. Thank you. I'm saying, like, okay, you can go to section 3 and then number 1, and I'm still finishing the website, but it's getting to the point where it can be used as a reference in conversation.
Fieldheart.org. And finally, when men don't have a value system, like a principled or religious man, when they don't have that, they don't really know what to look for in a woman. They just kind of go off feelings instead of the logic of, okay, these values match up, we'll have a strong marriage. 3 reasons.
Okay, so the last point was about men and what they value, let me see that again.
Don't really know what to look
if you don't really know what to look for a woman,
go off of feelings.
Right. So the man of principles, right? This is the last point, and this is why men unlovingly seduce women. And what does that mean? That means that men just seduce women because they feel like they want the woman to, have sex with them because they want that release. But you're supposed to get the release with this, you guys, with the sex toys that we have available to each other in this day and age. And so you can do that if you have the principles that allow you to say, these are my values. That's, religious men, they'll say, like, I refuse to be with a woman unless she's willing to abide by these certain religious, and that's the same as a man of any value system. He should be like, okay, these are my values, and a woman is either going to be with me or not. Like when you go beyond the sexual influence, when you control that second chakra, you activate it yourself with self-intimacy, you are free. You are truly free. And you can, let's get some music on here. All right. You're truly free. And what else do I have on this? Oh yeah, you're gonna love this. So percentage points. So what's the solution for me? The solution's pretty straightforward. It's pussy. It's woman, celebrating woman's vagina like a flower, like it's our human flower. And so there are percentage points though to that make it us less interested in the pussy, and it's important to maintain our focus and interest on that, especially our future wife's flower, and focus in on celebrate on that. And so the way there are things that detract from that, everything from women's breast size, even men's pee-pee size. Like, try not to let these things get in the way of you celebrating your wife, your future wife, and her flower. You know, that's why I think it's better to not have other larger features like men wanting to have. I mean, maybe big muscles are useful. They can be useful, but the thing is that's why I don't like larger breasts. I think those are for babies. I think that men with interest in that, and then oh, and by the way, if you look at women, what do women do? They get breast implants, which just is an example to show that women are, it would be, no man would do something like that. You know what I mean? So also a man wouldn't get abortions. A man would just not have intimacy because they would want to have 100% chance of not having premarital intimacy. Like, guys don't realize, how women are, and this is a whole learning process. But we're to a point where we have the knowledge, guys. The knowledge is out there. We gotta put it together and in practical applications. And I think that's the number one thing that religions emphasize, at least the orthodox versions of religions, is what? To be protecting women and treating them as sacred. That's what these previous religions do. And there are ways to do that. And let's see here, checking out my notes here. So, what else? Okay, what else? If I have any other thoughts, I'm going to share them with you. Do you have a point that I think I should, like, this is all about making the world a peaceful place. Let's see. And women need to realize that men think about sex a lot, and that just because a man is sexually interested in you doesn't mean that he would want to marry you. And in fact, if a man really respects a woman, it means that he wouldn't want intimate, sex with her until marriage, or any intimacy for that matter. Because if he really respects them, that a woman, that means he would not want to seduce them. But what that means is, just like we see with prostitutes or with a lot of guys, if a woman that they were attracted to just approached them and said, "Do you want to, have some sexual activity?" then they would say yes, and they would be interested. But that is not something you do to a woman that you respect and care and love for. So see, the thing is, women are get influenced by people, by society, by each other, by like pastors, who you'll notice in churches these days, a lot of the attendees are like 70% women. Professors in universities, even if those professors are women, it's still, there's like more 70% attendance of ratio of women in universities. And stuff like politicians will cater to women. They'll say things that are to get the women's vote. And also like musicians and rock stars, like especially in the Christian community, you'll notice the type of music that they sing. A lot of the Christian rock bands is kind of more catered towards women. It's more feminine sounding. And so this is just to add to your awareness, and be careful. And there's one person that I want you guys to look up. His name is Casey Zander, and let me give a little preview of a good example of. Okay, so here, let's check this out. So his name is Casey Zander, and he talks about strategies. The trouble with what he. Okay, here's the one problem with what he talks about, is that he the whole context for what he says has to do with dating, quote unquote, which I've debunked in this video. But what we really need is it shouldn't be about dating. It should be about marriage, and no sex until marriage. A true, honest marriage based upon scientifically matching up statistics and or our shared values, and seeing how much we have, making it a logical connection. How many kids do you want to have? Logical connection. Oh, they want to have 2. I want to have 2. Stuff like that. And so. And by the way, all this is all like the maintenance of society. Like, the most important things are not about that, even though that's what everyone does. But, well, everybody does it. Everybody, should be healthy, athletic. But then it is a question of sport, and you should want to do the same sport as your spouse. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe people should experiment with, different sports, but have at least some things in common. Just stuff that you have to think about, all of that stuff. How you're going to live a week together, what a year is going to look like. Where do you want to spend your extra money? Stuff like that. That's what makes you unique. And the stuff that you do when you have free time, that's what defines you. Not the fact that you're both friendly people and you both want to raise kids together and be, physically fit. All right, so what Casey is suggesting here, and if he talked it within the frame of a marriage, that'd be better. But what he's suggesting here is that women want,
and that would be the element of non-neediness. Okay, the reason why I'm making
and women, okay, so only want men who do not need them. What that's about is it's about women wanting that bad boy type of archetype, which is the bad boy doesn't need them for the sex. And that's why masturbation is so foundational, because it ensures that you're not going to be controlled by that desire, and you're not going to be needing that woman. And like I said, the whole worshiping of your wife's flower, well, that has to do with going beyond the sex of just the man wanting the woman for a release, but it's the man wanting to worship the woman. And it's, sexual penetrative intercourse is more about emphasis on the man and him dominating the woman. But that's why the oral sex aspect of it is more special, and it's more, I think, it's more of an authentic expression of who the man is and how he cares about his wife. So yeah, check this channel out. This is like the most advanced stuff that I think is out there. And thank you guys for tuning in. It's been fun. And yeah, till next Saturday, when I do my live stream in Waikiki, and my Sunday show like today. But please consider that I do have my TikTok channel. I've got lots of little videos. Some of them have done really well. They've really hit some big numbers. So yeah, thank you guys, and I'm gonna say aloha.